Yeah.
Hi Tony,
Hi.
thank you so much for coming today for
Thank
this
you.
interview. So you've set up and you run HMP Lewes on Facebook, is that right?
It's a charity that was formed in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a website and we've got the Twitter account and we've got a Facebook account. So we work within the social media trying to create awareness. See?
Yeah.
T-shirt, creating awareness. That's what you do.
So what kind of things do you do as part of HMP Lewes?
First of all, Diversity Lewes was started due to an article that was written in the Sunday Times by a resident in Lewes. He was a journalist, and he wrote an article about microaggression, where you can't actually report racism, but it is verging on the fact that it's annoying, but you can go to the police and report it. So it was an article that ran in the Sunday Times, and everybody in Lewes came up in arms and said, no, we're not racist. And some people are saying, oh yes, you are racist. So we had this debate going on for a while in the town. So what happened is we came together, we meaning people from different cultures within Lewes. We said, okay, let's have a meeting. So we called a meeting at the Pelham House. It was an Eventbrite meeting, so everybody had to sign in with their email. So when they signed in is when I managed to have a mailing list. So it was either opting in or out. So people said, oh, we need an organization that will look around racism, equal rights, and having fun.
Yeah.
So, celebrating our differences. So we started as a community interest group, with a charitable status, and we got some funding from the Success Community Foundation, and we got some funding from the police, and then we started doing this soup festival that my friend was talking about. So we did it annually for 4 years.
So what's the food festival?
It's a soup where we got Chowla's, the restaurant, we got some of the Thai restaurants, we got some people from Iran, we got some African, Kenyan people coming in with different dishes. We also got somebody from Croatia. So they all made soups, and then we went to the All Saints and we had little shots. So people used to come and test, and if they like it, then they sit down and order the soup. Some people just came and tested and they were full and they went away. So it became quite big, because we started small. The first year it was quite, not so much. But then after 4 of them, it became too claustrophobic because there were so many people coming in and it was just a small window, 2 hours. So we stopped it. It's now been stopped for the last 3 years. We haven't had any. We're looking for a venue.
Yes.
And then COVID came.
Yeah.
So we've been doing things around creating awareness on all kind of discrimination. So we are very encompassing. We've been working with the schools, and I've been going to assemblies and getting the reception and year 1 and 2 into the hall and giving them a talk that is their level. Then we got the year 3 to year 5s, their level, and then the older people, their own level. So we've done that in primary schools in Wallands, we've done one in South Over, and we've done one in South Morlings. And then we've done some talks also at the primary high school, which is much more mature, trying to engage people on their history and their origins. And then I work also at the University of Brighton as a visiting lecturer. Wow. So I go there and
very busy.
And I also have a creative writing course that I do, and we call it powerful text. So it's working in the community. So when you talk about Diversity Lewes, it's working within the community and working in schools especially, but also working with the police, trying to see whether we could create more awareness around institutional racism,
Mm-hmm.
because the police has been, traditionally been accused of being racist. So I've been part of the independent advisory group for the Sussex Police now for 7 years. And we've been working around race engagement and networking and retaining and recruiting and unconscious bias training.
Right.
So these are the things we've been doing, because instead of fighting the police, we'd rather go and work within and change the system from within, which is hard because it's like a Titanic. Turn it slowly, but there's something that happen.
Yeah.
So well, that's roughly what we do. Because it's quite a big area we cover. We cover the whole of Sussex, so it's quite huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people do you know? How many people are involved in it? Or
Right now we did get quite a few, like 200% of members came in during Black Lives Matter. So we are hitting around between 800 to 900 members now, who like what we do. So it's quite a huge organization.
Wow. So do lots of other people get involved with setting up the events and helping you to run it? Yeah,
the thing is, it's really hard for people to mark in, because most people will either wait until a team, there's an active team of let's say 35 who work around organizing, but most people will come to event after it's already organized. So they'd rather just walk in through the door and not marking. So it gets quite hard. But then, we've got quite a few members, who are really active.
Okay. And are you organising anything specifically this for Black History Month?
We did one on Saturday at the Depot Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
We had the mayor, or the leader of the district council, Councillor Adrian Ross, came over, and we celebrated the day, Black History Month, because the Depot is the only venue right now that you can play music. So I brought in some of my playlists and played some really different types of music from the Black History era.
Right,
and then there's a talk I'm going to do in the Brighton and Hove County Council on this topic, on celebrating African Caribbeans in Sussex, past and present. This is an exhibition that has standalone banners, so you can even stick them around here. But then what I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation. So that's on the 16th. And then I will do another one for the university, because this is exclusive just for the Brighton and Hove City Council workers.
So is this something you've been doing a lot of research on?
Well, this one was a project that was funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. And it was done with the members from the T.A.S.K Lewes and the lecturers at the university. So people did their own research and came up with this booklet. Now this booklet is it's like a guidance. It just guides you on what people are noting, but it doesn't go deep. So we go to schools and we tell the pupils to choose one of the, because there are 5 women and 5 men. They choose the ones that they want, and then they go deep and they do their own research. So they can go to the Keep, they can go online, they can do desktop, even they can go and interview some of the ones that are live. So this is it's a project that we really encourage people to do.
So it's very interactive and collaborative.
Very interactive. But some of them are still alive.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
In the prison, they do some work with the Keep sometimes as well.
Okay.
As part of a festival there.
Okay, good. Yeah. Because we really want people to know their history, and then we want also people to tell their stories. Yeah. So we've got oral history where people actually talk about things that they think is not significant, but it makes a change to somebody.
Yeah.
You never know who's listening.
Yeah, so the people's history.
Yeah, it's people's history and it's that's what actually this is. Ordinary people, day-to-day people, some people who haven't achieved much, and then there are people who are really famous who've lived in Sussex.
It's just as important.
Yeah, it's important. So it balances the whole thing. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
Okay.
So do you think, because of the Black Lives Matter movement, so you said lots more people are interested in your group.
200% of people signed it. Yeah.
So do you think that has been a positive thing? The Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, sometimes I feel like some people want to be involved in a way that they feel much more appeased when they join a group, you know, but it doesn't mean that they want to do anything. Because there was a questionnaire for joining in, you know, and it was only simple questions of is there racism in Lewes, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think you can do to help in maybe volunteering, or some people just say that I don't know, or I'd like to learn more, or you know. So it was very vague, but yeah, I accepted them because, of course, some of them never answered, so I didn't accept them. So we could have had more people.
Yeah.
For people who didn't answer the questions, it's like they just wanted to get in. So it shows that there was quite a few people. So it is positive in a way that people are aware.
Yeah.
And we've got a group called Diversity Education, which is also on Facebook, and that also teaches people on books to read and, you know, things to change attitudes. So yeah, I think it was a positive thing. Yeah.
So what kind of things would you recommend people to do if they want to become anti-racist?
Well, the whole point is that it is a cultural, you know, significance in that most of the people who tend to be racist are ignorant. You know, they don't have the education, or they don't understand, or they follow, you know, cultural norms that have been there since, you know, 400, 500 years ago, even since slavery. You know, so there's quite a lot of education that people need to work on themselves. So not assumption, not taking things for granted, and making sure that they make they say the wrong things, but at the end of the day they get corrected. But they're not afraid to say, oh, can I call you colored? Can I call you black? Can I call you, you know?
So asking questions.
It's asking questions so that at least there's more learning and, as you say, interaction. So most people want to learn.
Yeah.
They're willing to learn. So that's why we started this page called Diversity Education. And then there's another page called Rest Talk, which we didn't start, but it also talks about such things. So it covers topics that people keep on saying, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't know this. No, so it's like new things are coming up, and the more you look with the internet, if you look, you find. But if you're not concerned, then you end up, you know, being, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's the passion inside you that will make changes.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you have any specific recommendations for books or documentaries or anything like that people could look
There's
at?
quite a lot.
So many.
There's quite a lot. They're not specific, but there's different people who've written books that talks much more about anti-racism. In a way, there's a book called Decolonization, which was written back in the, I think in the 80s, it must be 80s, you know, where this author was talking about how neo-colonialism is affecting people now. So the British Empire has collapsed and everything, but at the end of the day, there's all these legacies and all these remnants and some rules and regulations that still echo or reflect the empire or the colonial mentality. So he's somebody. It's called Ngugi wa Thiong'o, but he's a very well-known author, African writer, and we're trying to push such writings into the curriculum. So we got a thing called diversifying the curriculum. So instead of decolonizing the curriculum, we think it's easier if we say diversifying the curriculum, so that it's not. We're not trying to be confrontation.
Yeah.
We're just trying to teach. So it's words and languages that's really hard. But there's quite a lot of stuff we can recommend if you go on our diversity education Facebook page.
Right.
There's quite a lot of recommendations.
That's
there.
brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
I won't tell you often because there's quite a lot there.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just see if I've got any more that I haven't asked you. Oh yeah, the last one I wanted to ask you was, have you got any people or books or anything that's influenced you in your life?
Well, there's quite a lot of literature that I've read during my time in this world, and I did do a history lesson, and I did it from my A level. So there's some books that I don't see in some of the reading lists here, or GCSE, or even in colleges being promoted, and I'm really keen to see why some of this knowledge, which is really not available, but it's available. You know what I mean? It's not on the reading list, but if you Google it, or if you go on the, so there's Professor Mbiti. He is a historian from Kenya who made a book called Zamani, which means the past. You know, so it's contemporary African history. So it talks about the history before slavery. So it goes into how people used to live, and the cultures, and the various religions, and spiritualism, and the economy, and music, and the fashion, and the food. You know, so it goes into a history where most people think Black history starts with slavery, and most of the Americans or the Caribbeans, and also some of the Black British, they don't have that reference. They do not have that kind of knowledge coming through to them, virtue of the fact that it's not available, but it is available.
Yeah.
So that book is quite important for people to just get a glimpse of not the Egyptian, because most people have a feeling that Egyptian history is different from African history.
Yeah.
And it's so hard when you go to the British Museum and you find a whole wing, you know, venerated and dedicated to the Egyptian collection.
Yeah.
And then when you go to Africa, it's on the basement.
Yeah.
And, you know, so these are the things that we want people to understand, that continent is so big, it's so vast, you know, and there's quite a lot of things that have not been spoken about. There's some ruins that most people came over and saw and realized that there used to be a big civilization here, especially in Zimbabwe. There's a stone city. When you go down in East Africa, there's ruins of the old Zenj Empire that used to rule the coastal strip all the way from Egypt all the way down to South Africa. You know, there's all that history that has been suppressed or hasn't been revealed. So there's quite a lot of books that have been written. There's the best one is called The Africans by Professor Ali Mazrui. That's a very good book to read because it talks about the same, you know. So there's Professor Mbiti and Professor Ali Mazrui, and all these academics that have written books that are cited. But then in the body politics of academia, these kind of things are not being debated on upon, because most people, when you tell them black history, it starts with slavery. They don't understand that there was so much more. There were so many empires, there were so many kings, there were so many different groups of people who migrated and moved around and came over. Last time I saw a document about Fiji, and some of the women are saying, "Oh, we come from Tanzania." I said, "How do you know?" Because they feel so African. They say we're here in Fiji, in the middle of the Pacific, but our roots are from Africa, Tanzania. And I'm thinking, okay, this is another take I didn't even know about. So there are so many things we need to learn. So those two books, I think they're very important and that's what influenced me, because I did A-levels I did history in A-levels. Then I'm actually doing a master's in collections, curating collections and heritage right now at the University of Brighton.
Oh.
So there's quite a lot I'm trying to change at the university. So yeah,
right.
Those are the books I can recommend, the two. But they're heavy reading.
Yeah.
Heavy reading. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And my books?
Really interesting. Oh yeah, that's good.
To plug them in?
Yeah.
This is one I did with a group of we call them silver survivors, old age pensioners. So this is all of them.
Oh.
And it's a
They all
mixture.
from Lewes?
No, these are from Brighton.
Okay.
So yeah, but some of them are also, some of them came from London, Crawley. So it's Worthing, Shoreham. Yeah, and I'm from Lewes. So it's a mixture of Caribbeans, Indians, and Chinese.
So were they all sharing their...
Yeah, so it's about food and culture and different. We did some, takes on recipes. So that's my recipe. That's my hands. So we wrote this in different chapters, and this is one flyer we also do for writing our legacy.
Oh, wow.
This is what we did. We wrote a book called Hidden Sussex. No, we did workshops and got people who didn't feel like they were writers.
Okay.
So we prompted them and got them into writing. So they were in Crawley. We went to Crawley, then we went to Brighton. We came to Lewes, Eastbourne, and Hastings. So it was all over the Sussex, and then we got them to. We trained them on how to write, and we edited, and we got a book called Hidden Sussex. I don't know why I didn't bring it, but
what were they writing about?
They're just writing about their life in Sussex.
Okay. Wow.
How some people say, oh, they go to the Downs. Some people talk about cricket. Some people talk about their life, just generally how they see Sussex.
Lots of different experiences,
but in their own lenses.
Yeah.
So we captured this and got it called Hidden Sussex. So there's other books I've written also, but I thought I'd just bring this to you.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Okay.